Family goes, oh na na na, oh na na na.
Purchase your
Come
tracks
kick
today.
come kick it with the Casey's. All that love and all those babies. C-A-S-C-Y. Welcome to the life. Welcome. C-A-S-C-Y. DJ Envy and Gia, oh oh. It's time to kick it with the Casey's. You're tuned into the Casey crew.
What up, y'all? I am Gia Casey.
And I'm Madison Casey.
And welcome to another edition of the Casey Crew.
Welcome.
A little more
Welcome.
a little bit better. Hello, beautiful people. And as you can see, I have my beautiful daughter, Madison, joining us today. We thought it'd be nice to give you guys a little switch up. And since we do so much talking about you, to kind of familiarize her with you guys. So stick around. We're going to take you on a little journey of our relationship and what's going on with her. So right now, you are 22 years old. She is my first of 6, and she is a senior at NYU. And just to kind of brag a little bit about her big brain, the year that she got accepted, there was a 12% acceptance percentage. So that means that 88% got told no, and she was one of the 12 that got told yes. So she got a really great education. She's wrapping it up. And tell them what your major is.
So my major at NYU is Sustainable Real Estate Development, and I study at the Schack Institute of Real Estate.
Okay. So what do you want to do with that degree?
So as of right now, I am a real estate agent. I just got my license a couple of months ago, and I started doing real estate in the city. I'm about to get my license in New Jersey as well. And I want to start out as an agent, then eventually get my broker's license, and then start to do investment.
So why don't you tell them where you just got your job?
So I just started working at Serhant, which is, if you don't know, one of the top real estate agencies / brokerages in Manhattan and New York. So I just started working there. I'm super excited.
Big blessing, big blessing. And she also wants to get her New Jersey real estate license so she can practice real estate in both New York and New Jersey. So why did you choose real estate?
Well, I chose real estate because Dad does real estate.
Yeah.
So that was the initial thing that drew me to real estate. And then real estate is everywhere. Everybody's going to need a home. Everybody's going to need a place to stay. And the opportunities are everywhere and limitless.
Endless.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if you remember, but when we went on your college tour and we were headed to Spelman, we had a discussion about what you wanted to do, what your career path was going to be. And listen, let's not fake the funk. You like nice things. You like a nice lifestyle. And, you have your mindset on being able to achieve a level in life where you'll be able to provide those things for yourself once you are out on your own completely. So we had a conversation regarding what she liked, what she enjoyed, and what the earnability was of those things. And I want to kind of get into this conversation because a lot of you might have kids that are sophomores or juniors in high school that are starting to think about what they want to do with their lives, or they may be in college and they may be undecided or thinking about switching their major, or they may be a senior and have a lot of trepidation because they have no idea what they want to do or ultimately will do once they're out there in the big bad world. So this was one of the beginning conversations. We'd had conversations before, but not as serious as we did when she was about to become a freshman. So I said to you, because she was in love with the idea of psychology. She thought that was going to be something that she would really enjoy. So we talked about some of the jobs that she might be able to take with that type of degree. And then we did talk about real estate. I personally am trying to encourage one of my kids to be a plastic surgeon because it's a very, very successful profession. And I don't think that any parent would complain about having a doctor as a child. She can't take blood.
Terrified of blood.
She can't take blood, but you watch a lot of gory movies. So that's kind of a contradiction.
Fake blood. It's one thing to watch a movie. It's another thing to...
She can't help me if any of the chews throw up. She can't
Oh, God,
help,
no.
She's very anti-disgust. So that wasn't going...
Anti-germs.
Anti-anything that's going to require you getting a paper towel and cleaning anything up.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
that wasn't going to work for her. But I'd be lying if I said that the earnability of different professions wasn't part of the discussion. So
Absolutely.
what did you think about that?
Like my mom said, I do like nice things. And in my future, I want to be able to afford to live the life that I am able to live now, that's provided to me by my parents. And I knew that some of the things that I was really passionate or some hobbies that I'm really into would not be able to afford me the lifestyle and the freedom that I would want to have in my future by following that route. So that's one of the reasons also why I chose real estate, because it's something that I'm interested in and will give me the opportunity to make a lot of money in my future and be really successful in my future.
Okay. And I think that there's also a certain amount of freedom attached with real
Yeah,
estate.
absolutely.
You know, you can kind of set your own hours and you can really forge your own path.
Mhm.
So I like that for you because you're not tied down. I'm glad that you're not starting out working a 9 to 5, just because I really do love the idea of flexibility
Mhm.
because I think it caters to one's happiness.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that's going on with you is that you have a boyfriend.
Mhm.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Would it be safe to say that you're in love?
Yes. Well, I would hope so.
Okay. So when Madison was at NYU last year, they met and they were spending a lot of time together.
Mhm.
So let's talk about how you guys wound up moving in and living together.
So, we actually started moving or living together quite early on in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He was just always at my apartment.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why are you paying for rent at your apartment if you're here all the time?
Mm-hmm.
You should just sublet your apartment and stay with me. You're here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he ended up doing. And then, yeah, since then we've been living together.
You guys have been
About-
kind of inseparable.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to me because, as I've shared with you guys before, that's exactly how Daddy and I were.
Mm.
When we were in college, I can tell you that we were together every single day, Monday through Friday, weekends. We very rarely ventured off and like did our own thing with friends and whatnot. And if we did it together with friends.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see that you're in a relationship and you're kind of following the same suit.
Yeah. And that's like that's the funny thing is a lot of people, when they find out that I live with my boyfriend, they're like, and your parents are okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm like, my parents did that. My parents are the reason that I'm doing this because that was normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's exactly what you guys did. And it's not strange to me.
Didn't feel strange.
Yeah. And it's like, my parents know, and my parents are supportive of it.
So let me ask you a question. I don't know
Yeah.
if I've ever asked you if we've ever talked about it before. How much do you think that having me and Daddy as an influence, as your parents, has played in your choice of boyfriend and the fact that you live together and the fact that you spend so much time together? And do you think that that he was of the same mindset, that that's what helped him to stick around? In
Mhm.
other words, if he wasn't, do you think that he would have made it this far with you?
So you and Daddy's relationship is what I am trying to emulate in mine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Why?
I'll get to that. I'll get to
Oh,
that.
you're gonna get to that.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
get to that.
Okay.
Because growing up, I saw how you and Dad, yeah, you guys were married, but you guys were also best friends. And in a lot of people's relationships, they're not best friends with their partners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they go out with their best friends on the weekend, but you and Daddy go out on the weekend and you and Daddy do everything together. And it's not like you want to go spend time with your friends. No, you want to spend time with Dad, and Dad wants to spend time with you.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up and when I started dating, I wanted someone who wanted to have that same type of relationship
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I wanted. I knew that that's what I wanted. And when I met Andrew, I realized that he was the same exact way as me. He
I'm
wanted
gonna
to be
pop in probably a couple pictures of you guys like around here or around here or
Yeah.
something. But go ahead.
Yeah, I saw that he wanted to be around me just as much as I wanted to be around him.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever had to choose going out with my friends or going out with Andrew or even staying in with Andrew, it's an easy decision. I always wanted to stay in with Andrew, and he was the same way.
Mhm.
And a lot of people that are my age are not like that.
Right.
They want to go out with their friends and spend time doing other things and see their partner once, twice a week. But it was weird that I was able to find someone who kind of had the same mindset as me regarding relationship and being with your partner.
Okay. Okay. So when it came to him moving in with us, because like we said some podcasts ago, we bought Madison a home as a graduation gift. So her house is being renovated. So she went from her apartment to here as a transition point, and then she'll be moving into her home. So did you have any trepidation about Andrew living here with your family and
No,
anything?
no,
Okay,
not at all.
So it was easy.
Yeah.
Why?
He just fits into this family so well.
Yeah.
When he's around the kids,
Mhm.
it's like he's their sibling. He treats everybody here as if they're family, you know? And I knew that he would fit in just well. Like even when we've gone away, the way that he treats the kids and hangs out around you guys and is comfortable around you and dad, like I knew that it would be fine, an easy transition, and it wouldn't feel uncomfortable for anybody.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to tell you, like, I'm very, very happy to see you so happy. I'm happy to see you with someone that has the same outlook on relationships because I'm so fond of him.
Mhm.
And I think that he treats you incredibly. So I'm very happy to see you in this space in life, graduating college and in a successful relationship and moving into a home and starting your career. It's just like a very exciting time for you. How are you? How excited are you about life?
I'm very excited. I'm excited to graduate and
Yeah.
start working and just making my way in the world.
So let's talk about our relationship
Mhm.
because I get a lot of emails and DMs asking how it is that I've been able to cultivate such a strong, warm, loving relationship with my children, especially with you because you're the oldest and
Mhm.
because you're a girl. How do you view our relationship and how do you think that we've gotten to this place?
Well, you're my best friend.
Mm.
So, our relationship is special because yes, you're my mom, but you're also my best friend. Like I tell you every single thing that
There's a couple things that you don't tell me.
like what?
Like we don't talk about.
Okay. Ew.
I know, but I mean,
Why would
with
ew.
my best friends, they
Okay,
talk
well,
to me about
yeah.
that stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so we talk
Everything
about
else,
everything else except that.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to talk about that stuff when you were younger, but that was more like me giving you like preventative advice and
Yeah.
educating you, like
Yeah.
giving you information. Am I making you feel funny right now?
Yeah.
It's okay. Carry on.
What was the question?
We're talking about our relationship.
Yeah. So, she's my best friend, so I tell her everything but that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just know that I can trust you with everything. I know that if I come to you with a problem, you're going to give me the best advice and you're going to help me with whatever the case is. And I don't ever get worried about getting in trouble for telling you something. I know that you're just going to support me and you're going to help me no matter what. And
Even if you were wrong.
even if I was wrong, no matter what. And a lot of people don't have relationships like that. So I recognize that it's rare and I recognize that it's really special that I'm able to come to you with anything. And I can call you at any time and you'll answer and you'll entertain me, even though I'm annoying. And I know that I annoy you sometimes. But
No, you don't. You don't.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes when I'm trying to get off the phone
Mhm.
because I got to do something, I got to be something. You'll be like, "Oh, but this. Oh, but let me just ask you this.
'Cause you're
Oh,
my
but let me
mom.
just tell you that."
Because you're my mom.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but I gotta go
You're my
because
mom.
Daddy's about to kick my ass if I'm not downstairs in 5 minutes."
But you're my mom. You have to stay on the phone.
I do, and I do
she
so
does every
gladly.
time. I call her every morning. Mom, does this outfit look good? Does my hair look? Do you like my makeup? Every single day, and you entertain my calls every single day.
Yes, yes, yes. So, what do you think? Okay, so yes, we're best friends, but what else do you think is like unique? What do you see in our relationship that you think may be lacking in some of your friends' relationships, or just people that you've come across? Like, what do you think is like our special sauce?
Our special sauce. I don't know. I think the fact that you're so understanding and patient
Mm.
that you, like I said, you will listen to me talk for hours, you know, like you genuinely care about what's going on and you're just very patient. And I think that your patience and also the way that you pass on your knowledge to me, like you teach me a lot about how I should be as a person. And I feel like maybe not a lot of other mother-daughter relationships are like that, where you don't make me feel like I'm a bother. And I feel like a lot of my friends, their mothers make them feel as though they're bothering them. You don't do that with any of us. Not even Logan.
Not even
Logan.
Especially Logan.
He's a bother. But you know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What do you think our special sauce is?
You know something? That's why I had to pause for a second, because I was mentally addressing the same question to myself. I think that a lot of well, first of all, I appreciate you because you were never that miserable teenage girl child. You know, you were never that daughter that was nasty to her mother, that was rebellious, that was rude, that would slam the door, that would curse in front of her mother, that would be like, ugh, Mom.
I'd get beat.
You would have gotten beat.
I would have gotten beat.
I would have gotten beat. I mean, that was part of your rearing, knowing that while we have a friendship,
there's also a level of respect.
There's also a level of respect that must be met. And there's no tolerance for anything other than respect and appreciation as a parent, because I feel as though a lot of kids take their parents for granted. Like, you got to do that because that's your job. I think I did a good job, and as did your dad, letting you know that as far as I'm concerned, nothing's my job. Everything that you get from us, you earn from us.
I'm not entitled.
You're not entitled to anything. And you got that from a young age. The babies got that from a young age. And I feel that that was integral in raising polite, mannerable, respectful children. And as you were going through your teens, I never had to, with none of you, not even Logan, I never had to worry about you guys sneaking out. It wouldn't even, I knew that it would never even cross your minds.
Never.
You know, it's just, I knew that I didn't have to worry about you lying to me, because I knew that as a mother, I always provided a safe space for you to come and tell me the world's worst. And truth be told, as you already know, I got that from my mother. My mother was my soft place to land. I knew that I could go to her and tell her that I just killed somebody, and before I could finish the sentence, she'd be going to look for the shovel. Like, that's how I was raised. So for me, it was always important to give you guys a space where you could come and tell me anything. I'll never forget, and this is just the truth. My mom, and I might have shared this with you guys before, but when I started dating Daddy, and we might have been a year, maybe not even quite a year into dating, and she said to me, because I didn't really talk to her about that thing either. You know, I talked to her about everything, but not really that. And she said to me, you know, I don't really know if you're having sex or not. She said, but I just want you to know that if you ever get pregnant, you come and tell me.
You told me the same thing.
Yes. See, I did, didn't I?
You told me the same thing.
My mother was such an influence on me, and I've always wanted to be that to my children, especially my daughters. She said, don't you go and get no abortion and go to someone's basement.
You said that you were good. You would raise my child for me as one of your own kids.
Yes. And I did say that to Madison. I said, after I told her I don't want her to go to someone's basement and have someone stick a hanger inside of her. Because that's what my mom said to me. You did pose that question to me and say, you know, well, what if that were to happen? What would you do? And I personally would not choose abortion for myself or my children, but I am pro-choice. But it's not for me, and I wouldn't want it for my children. And I told her that if you were to have a baby, if you were to get pregnant, that I would raise the baby for you. Your world would not have to stop. You could finish college and you can take care of your career and you're here all the time regardless. But I would take on the responsibility of raising your baby. And it would be your baby, it would be your child. And then when you were a little bit more settled and be able to provide a life for that child, then, you come in and we work it out and we make it as seamless and as perfect as possible, And I know my mom would have done the same thing for me. So I know I wouldn't be this type of mother if it wasn't for my mother. I know I wouldn't be this type of person if it wasn't for my mother. So I get it very, very honestly. And I just always wanted to pass those blessings down to my children, especially my girls, So I'm so glad that you never gave me any trouble. And I do think that, well, especially at that time, I had a lot of, I wouldn't call them friends, more so acquaintances, people that lived in our neighborhood when we lived in that town that was just going through a lot of trouble, a lot of problems with their teenage daughters. I mean, the things that they experienced was, for me, in my reality, completely unfathomable. And it was difficult for me to understand what the home life was like that would allow daughters in particular to behave in such a hateful way towards their mothers. It's almost as though teenage girls go through a phase where they hate their mothers. And it's interesting and it's something worthy of being thought about because you're both females, and there should be a bond. There's so much to teach. There's so much to share. So to go through a point where a child doesn't appreciate that and resents you and rebels against you, it deserves a lot of thought, especially preemptively, to make sure that, if you have a 7, an 8, or a 9-year-old, that you're building those bonds and that you're teaching those lessons at that age so that when they hit puberty and the hormones change and there's bad influence all around them because now they have a little bit of freedom and they're able to choose their friends. You're not dictating the play dates and whatnot. So when all of these things kind of come to a head and you're standing there trying to wrangle it, you've already kind of predetermined how they're going to react to it.
But I think it's a big reason is because from a very young age and even with the kids, you teach us all to be respectful and to be appreciative. I feel like that might not be a thing that a lot of mothers teach their kids, to be respectful all the time to everyone and to be appreciative. And I feel like a lot of kids are entitled. They feel entitled. And beyond that, you did it in a friendly way. You know what I mean? It wasn't like you're going to respect me and you're going to be appreciative. It was just in a friendly way that I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I be respectful? Why wouldn't I appreciate my mom and dad?
Can you think of an example of how that was taught to you? If it wasn't, well, you're going to respect me. How did it land on you?
I don't know if I can think of an example. Because it was just all throughout my childhood. Like I was always taught to be
daily
grateful and to always say thank you, even for the smallest things.
Yes.
Like the smallest things. Andrew's like, you say thank you too much. I'm like, well, you did something for me.
Well, in life, it's just always important. And Daddy always says that, you treat the janitor like the CEO. And that's very, very, very important to me because no matter what levels you reach in this life, you always have to remember where you came from, number one, but also with a different stroke of luck, with the absence of a particular opportunity, or maybe not going out on the day that you went out. You might not have met that person. You may have gone through a completely different walk of life and you could have ended up with a completely different life. And I feel as though so many people are so self-important that And I've met many people like this.
Likewise.
Just people that are affluent. I know you've met entitled kids at NYU.
Yeah.
At
Even in high school.
Because you've been in those circles and you've been around people that are very, very privileged.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll be in those circles and I'll walk away feeling very disappointed in what I experienced.
But a lot of times I'll feel very appreciative that I was raised right.
Yes.
Like I'll be like, wow, like this is how other kids are raised.
Yes.
That come from, I wouldn't go as far as saying like the same background, but a very similar background, like thank God I was raised right. Thank God I was raised knowing to respect everybody.
Right. Small little story. I went out to brunch with a friend of mine and her 2 kids and the babies minus Peyton. So Brooklyn, Jackson, and London. And I don't remember how we got into this conversation. I do, but it's not that important. But we got to a point where she asked, oh, okay. I could share part of it. So London and Brooklyn had on matching sweatshirts, and they were very nice sweatshirts. And she made mention of the sweatshirt, and she mentioned the brand of sweatshirt that they were wearing. And they looked at her like, what is that even? Like, okay. And she looked at me, she's like, they didn't react to my compliment. I said, because they don't know what kind of sweatshirts they're wearing. And she said, what do you mean they don't know what kind of sweatshirts they're wearing? I said, I don't share with them the things that they own. All they know is it's a sweatshirt. And I said, truth be told, I shop at that store. I shop at Zara. I shop at Target. If I see something cute at Walmart, I'm going to buy it. It's not about what was spent. It was about what I bought. And it was just simply something that I liked. And she said, but Gia, you can't hide their lifestyle from them. I said, name to not be revealed. I said, so-and-so, they have no idea what type of car we arrived in today. And she said, how could they not? I said, because in our house, those things are not important. We don't talk about material things. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about anything like that. And I said, for instance, I said, Lundy, what kind of car did we pull up in today? She's like, I don't know, a Ford? Because at the time we had that Ford. What was that? The white truck? It wasn't an Explorer. I can't remember. It was the white SUV that we had. But we would take the kids around in that car all the time. So they would hear me maybe say to Dad, hey, can you put the sports equipment in the Ford? Hey, can you take my umbrella out the Ford? So I knew that they would hear Ford. And we were in a different car that wasn't a Ford, but it could have been a Ford. It could have been anything. They would have had no idea. So the sense of entitlement for you guys, I've made it my personal business to make sure that you never felt it. And people associate the word spoiled with a child who has abundance. But for me, that's not what spoiled means. For me, spoiled is a synonym of ruined. In other words, you ruined your children with not earning the things that they have. So it's not about whether a child has a whole lot or little. It's about if you do have anything, knowing that you earned it and that you deserved it. And I made sure that when you guys were coming up to let you know, as much as you have, you could just as easily have nothing. Because if you don't earn it or you don't deserve it, you will not get it. And what you have already gotten will be taken away from you.
Absolutely.
Period. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't think for a moment that any of this is just par for the course. Don't think that your life is easy street. You get this because you are beautiful, lovely, kind, polite, and respectful children, and you deserve every little thing that you have. Even with the girls, just because Jackson doesn't really want anything but Fortnite gift cards. If I go shopping and get him an outfit or some sweatshirts or whatever, he'll be like, yeah, whatever. Thanks, Mom.
Where are my V-Bucks?
Where are my V-Bucks? Where are my Robux? Like that's all he cares about. But when I give them something, I tell you, It could be the smallest thing.
Me too. When I get Lundy her little
The little clips.
Lundy loves hair clips. So every time I see one, I buy it for her. She acts like I just bought her a house.
Yeah, honestly.
Thank you so much, Maddie. I love the clip so much.
I'm going to go put it in its special spot.
It was like 99 cents from Claire's.
Yes, it's just they know how to be appreciative because it's been a daily grind in parenting and child rearing. And I feel so blessed and privileged that the work that Daddy and I have put into you guys is paying off. So to see your entire journey from childhood to teenhood to young adulthood to whole adulthood, that all the ideas that we had, because we put a lot of thought into parenting, you know, but that all the ideas that we had came to fruition, you know, like it wasn't just, you know, an experiment that failed. It was an experiment that worked.
Yeah.
And like, I absolutely adore you. And I'm so beyond proud and glad and waking up every day feeling blessed that you're my daughter, you know, because you didn't have to be this amazing. You didn't have to be this amazing.
Well, I'm beyond blessed to have you as my mom, the best mom that anybody could have. And a lot of times I feel like sorry. I'm like, it sucks that nobody else has my mom. Like that's how I feel. I'm like, that sucks because you're the best mom that there is.
I appreciate that.
I mean that.
I know.
You know that. You know that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I remember when after school every day, you and Logan used to come into my room and lay at the foot of the bed for like 2 hours, telling me all of your stories, everything that happened in school, all of your friends' business and everything. And we just would lay there and just like bond. And I would find little bits of the stories that I could use to teach you something. You know, like one of the biggest things that I taught Madison, I mean, this is huge to me for a teenager, for a child even, because I must have said it to you many, many times, but as an adult, as a grown adult, that you never, ever, 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 ever say something in private about somebody
want somebody to know
that you could not say directly to their face. Because that person whose business you're discussing, they're your best friend in that moment. And then as soon as things go sour between you and that person, if it ever does, all the secrets, all of the truths that you guys have shared, all of your business and your personal secrets that you divulged and you let it all out, they're no longer sacred within the friendship. Because people, they're only loyal to you while they love you.
Yep.
When they don't love you anymore, all that goes right out the window. So you better be prepared that whatever secret you told them or whatever bleep you talked about somebody else, you better be prepared that it's going to hit the fan. You better know that so-and-so is going to know exactly what you said, and whatever secret you said, everybody else is going to know. So if you like, that's the beauty of the word secret. If you don't want anybody to know it, you never tell it. And what would I say to you? The only person you could tell is me and Dad.
Is you and Dad.
Because we're the only person that you know would never betray you or never divulge a secret. And if your friends are sitting there having at it and laughing and kikiing at someone else's expense, you get up and leave. You never be a part of it, you know? So what made me think of that is, you know, when they were laying at the foot of the bed, you know, I would hear all this stuff and I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity. This is a moment for me to teach her something, you know? And that's why I always loved listening to their stories, because I'm like, these are my little micro opportunities to cultivate good people, you know? And that was a big joy of being a mother. And I see it with Jackson. Like one thing about these kids. Do you know what I'm going to say? What?
No, you say it.
One thing about these kids, we're big on honesty. And one thing that Madison will tell you about me is that what? Like I don't lie. Like, that's just one thing about me. I resent liars, and I've never wanted to ever be put in a position where I feel as though I have to lie, you know? And my dad actually said something to me when I was a kid. He always said, no one is ever important enough to you that you have to lie to them. You are not a perfect person. And if the truth isn't good enough for them, then too bad. And whatever collateral damage takes place as a result of the truth, let it be. So I've raised my kids, teaching them that this way, that I know that they always have faith and belief in what I tell them. You know, you can't raise your kids to not be liars and then they overhear you telling a lie to your friend or to another family member or to your husband. Because then it's like, oh, all that don't lie stuff is nonsense. You have to honestly lead by example. So with the kids, we teach them the same thing. Like, lying is not acceptable. But boy, I promise you, them babies tell too much truth.
They tell on themselves all the time.
I'm like, my gosh. I mean, honestly, though, you should have kept that to yourself.
Earlier today.
To who?
I was like, yeah, my siblings telling each other all the time.
No,
like,
telling themselves.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. My siblings, they tell on themselves all the time.
I mean,
like, they will not keep anything to themselves.
I mean,
Mom, I accidentally said stupid. I'm so sorry.
Well, let me give backstory on that.
Yeah.
So in our house, there's curse words, which are just like, don't even think about it. I mean, Madison's not even allowed to curse in front of me. The only time that her and Logan are allowed to say a curse word is if they're telling me a story, like something that happened out in the street. And they're like, oh, so, and they'll say permission to curse. And I'll say permission granted, because I want all the juice of
At my big age of 22.
I want to hear the juice of how whatever story went down, you know? But yeah, no, they're not allowed to say bad words. I mean, curse words. So the bad words is a level down. So that's stupid, idiot, annoying, because I feel as though it's very hurtful to be called annoying, right? That's funny to you?
It's just funny that annoying is a bad word.
But isn't it though?
Yeah.
When someone calls you annoying, like, that's hurtful.
Yeah.
And that's a common word that would be shared amongst siblings. So I don't like the word annoying.
Can't say shut up.
You cannot say shut up. You can say kindly be quiet. You can't say shut up, and you can't say fat.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, like the big ones.
You're not allowed to say ugly. You're not allowed to call people ugly.
You're not allowed to call people ugly. You cannot refer to another human being as ugly, because we don't look at people for what they offer us physically. So these are just, you know, things that we go through. But Jackson, I'll tell you a little story. I don't know if you know this one. This happened about a month ago. So he has a friend, right? And his friend bet him that he didn't know any players on some sports team whose first name started with D. Why that was important, I don't know. But this is what actually happened. So he came to me and he asked me, and I'm like, you think I know the answer to that question? He was like, can you Google it for me? So I Googled it. Okay. So there was like 3 players. So they bet something. They bet something in Robux that was worth $40. I'm not sure what it was, but something in Robux that was worth $40. So Jackson went to him and said, this guy, and this guy. And the kid said, all right. So he had to send Jackson whatever it was that was of that value. Man, Jackson couldn't take it. Jackson came to me crying and he said, I was dishonest to my friend. He gave me his whatever. And it had a value of $40. And now I feel terrible about it. I should have never did that. But I came to it. I asked you and I know it was dishonest and I did it. Mommy, what should I do? I said, well, I'm so glad that you're acknowledging that, because most people would have thought that they just came up. But you acknowledging what you did and how it affected another person is what makes me so proud of you, because we are all imperfect and we will all make mistakes, but it's how you bounce back from that mistake and the responsibility that you take for that mistake. So I said, this is what you do. You go and call him and you tell him exactly what you did. and you ask him for his forgiveness. And you're going to spend the next, they get $10 a week allowance that they earn. They do chores and things of that nature. I said, you're going to spend the next 4 weeks earning $10 a week, and you are going to pay him back. But I'm going to give you an advance. So you send him $40 in Robux right now. Bring me the thing. I'm going to put the password in, and then you will resume your allowance on the 5th week from today. He said, you should make it 8 weeks. I said, here's this kid begging for more lashings. He's like, no, I deserve a bigger punishment than this. I deserve worse. I said, oh my gosh, there's self-deprecation going on here. But they're just so, we've instilled integrity and a sense of conscience in them. And that was nice to see. And the girls, they're the same way. And this is a little annoying for me, I might need your advice. I kind of want to know what you think I should do because I don't really know. So when they're watching YouTube or if they're on whatever apps that they're on where like videos pop up and things like that, up until about maybe 3 months ago, they weren't allowed to watch anything with bad words in it. But everything says at least 10 of my bad words. So I'm like, at this point, they won't be able to watch anything. So then I had to say, okay, you're allowed to watch things with bad words, but no curse words. And then it's damn and ass and, little like smaller degree curse words. So do you think that at 10, 9, and 7, so maybe 10 and 9, there's a big gap between 7, do you think that they should be able to watch YouTube that have minimal amounts of curse words?
Yes. But I don't think that it should apply to all 10 and 9-year-olds. I think that Lon and Jax, they're not going to cuss when we're not around. They know, like you said, they tell them themselves. They're not going to say bad words when we're not around. So I don't think that watching these videos where the people are cussing, I don't think that those videos are going to influence them to go out and start using profanity.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about them using profanity. I'm just worried about the exposure and removing.
They're not getting the exposure from the videos. Their friends cuss. Their friends cuss. Like their friends, some of their friends have the most disgusting mouths on them. Lundy will come home and be like, guess what so-and-so said at school today? She said this and she cussed at the teacher. She gives
context. Like, forget about the 5th grade group chat.
Oh my gosh.
Forget about.
Oh my gosh. They're not getting the exposure.
If you're a mom of one of the kids in that group chat and you're watching, check your daughter's group chat.
It's insane. So
yeah,
our kids are not getting that exposure from the videos. They're getting
it from just being alive.
Yes, from their peers and their friends and their classmates.
Okay, because I was thinking about that because it feels like every 32 minutes I have a kid running into the room showing me their iPad and a video that just said a curse word. And then I have to watch like the last minute or two to determine if they can continue to watch it. Because I wouldn't have been that kid. I've been like, mommy's here, ain't no cameras. Mommy's not here, ain't no cameras. She ain't never going to know. And I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to watch. They don't take advantage of not being found out. Or there's no way that mom and dad will find out. They will come and tell you the complete unadulterated truth to the point where I'm honestly like dumbfounded by it. Have you not been like absolutely dumbfounded?
He'd be like, I'm watching a video and they just said this word. Can I still watch it? I'm like, sure, Jackson.
Yeah.
But they also know what they are and what they're not supposed to be watching.
Yeah.
So a bad word here and there like for Jackson, if he's watching a streamer playing Fortnite or something, is not the end of the world. But he knows that he can't watch Family Guy that's saying the same words.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you think that they have discretion?
Yeah, they know kind of the line that they're able to walk on regarding the things that they watch on YouTube and stuff.
Okay. So now I want to switch gears. I want to ask you a question.
I'm going to switch positions so my legs are in.
Your legs falling asleep?
Yeah. Right
so I would say 90% of the couches that we have in this house, we had custom made because This is the way that I like to lounge in my house. I like my couches are all like 46 to 54 inches deep because when we pile in as a family, I want to be able to get in with the pillows and the throw blankets and everybody cuddle together and whatnot. So that's why the couch is so super deep. Yeah, let's get comfy.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question.
I'm drowning in the pillows.
Yes. Have you heard about, do you know who Drea is? She is a beautiful girl. She is a post-reality star. I don't think she's on any reality TV right now. I could just not be in the know, but she used to be on Basketball Wives. I believe that she's 38 or 39 years old right now, and there's been a lot of talk of her in the media lately. She just got pregnant by a 22-year-old basketball player.
I know who that is.
Okay, so now you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Without me giving my opinion, which I don't even know if I'm really settled on my opinion yet, so I guess I'll talk my way through it with you. What do you think about that?
I think that's crazy.
You use the word crazy.
I think that's crazy.
Why do you think it's crazy?
What can how old did you say she was? 38?
I believe she's 38 or 39.
What can an almost 40-year-old have in common with a 20-something-year-old, a 22-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
That would be like me bringing home a guy that's like daddy's age, slightly younger than dad. That is crazy.
Do you think that there's any world or any situation where that could be okay? Because I'm big on playing devil's advocate and
Not
trying
like that.
to look at things from multiple perspectives, not just the perspective that slaps me in the face. Because the perspective that slaps me in the face is what you just said, right? But then I try to think a little bit more critically about it.
But it's not just about the age gap, because if they were both, well, if the kid was older, if the boy was older, then maybe that would be okay, because they would be at more mature, or he at least would be at a more mature place in his life. You know what I mean? But 22, about the age of graduating college, and she's 40, like
almost 40.
Almost 40. That age gap, it's not, like I said, it's not about the age gap. It's the drastic difference in maturity. And
that's a good way to put it.
What can I relate to with you when I'm 22 and you're 40?
Sex?
That's not enough.
Oh, I know. I'm just telling you what's the clear and obvious answer.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's, levels of maturity. Do you think it's possible that it could be a very mature 22-year-old that's been through some things? Or maybe can it be that she may be less mature than your typical almost 40-year-old? Do you think that a world exists where they could be on the same intellectual, emotional, and maturity level?
Maybe, but I still don't think it's right.
You don't think it's right? So a lot of social media is accusing her of getting knocked up by him to secure her future because she's not married. I believe she has one child already, if I'm not mistaken. I know she has at least one child, and I think only one child, if I'm not mistaken. But securing... You have to sneeze?
I almost sneezed. It went away.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But securing her future with an athlete, which a lot of women are unabashed about doing. Like right now, I feel like we live in a day and time of marry a man with money. He doesn't have to be the nicest. He doesn't have to treat you the best.
As long as he has money.
As long as he has, because, right now I feel as though society, especially young society, well, I'm lying. It's not just young society. It's middle-aged society. It's all of society. A lot of women look at men for money, and a lot of men look at women for beauty and sex. And I think that it's very, very much rationalized. I think that a lot of couples that are in that situation appreciate the exchange. Like, she don't have no right to talk back to me and tell me what she thinks. Like, I'm paying your rent, right? I'm paying your car note, right? All right, so shut up, sit down, look pretty, and do your job. And she'll say, well, I don't care if he cheats. I don't care If, he has a bad day, I don't care if he's nasty. I don't care if he smells. I don't care because he's paying my rent and he's paying my car note. And I have another guy for that. It's like this accepted exchange. What do you think about that?
Again, I think that's crazy. If it works for you, it works for you. But I just think that it's crazy that people are doing that, and it's become so accepted. Like a lot of people do that. A lot of people that I know do that type of stuff.
What does that look like with the people that you've known?
Young girls with older rich guys, and it's like, yeah, I don't really like him, but he pays for my dinner, and like he'll send me money here and there, so why not?
Like aspiring sugar babies?
Yeah. Yeah, literally. And I don't understand that. Like, I get it. You want to have some money, but no amount of money will ever be worth my pride. Like, I rather go out there and make my own money or not have any. I'm not going to turn to a random older guy who has money and just essentially sell myself. Because that's what it is.
Which kind of brings to mind a story came out a couple of weeks ago about Aoki Lee. Do you know who she is?
Nope.
Do you know who Kimora Lee is?
No.
You know who Russell Simmons is? Well, thank you so much, Madison. Why don't you read that?
How do you say her name? Aoki?
Aoki.
Aoki Lee Simmons, 21. He's 21?
She's 21.
Kisses Serafina co-founder Victorio Asav, 65, during beach vacation in St. Bart's. That's crazy.
That's wild.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
In my opinion. Oh, and before I continue, in no way, shape, or form am I speaking on Drea's situation. I don't know. It was just a story that provided food for thought for us to chat about, as I'm sure many people are chatting about at home. But I have no idea what their relationship looks like, what it feels like. So if they like it, I love it. But from the outside, there's a lot to be pondered, I guess, about that. Yeah. So go ahead.
I just think if this relationship took place 3-4 years earlier, that would have been a charge. Yeah. That would have been a case. Yeah. That would have been, I don't want to go as far as saying it, but that would have been pedophilia.
Yeah, I don't really understand how that feels okay for either one of them.
No way. And
he's grandpa. Oh, so you need your phone back? He's grandpa.
No way. And like I told you, I have no idea who she is, and I have never heard of that guy either. But no way she has anywhere near a maturity level. She hasn't experienced enough in her life to be able to. What do they relate? Like, what do they relate on? What do they have in common?
I think it's especially disturbing for him because at 21, a lot of girls are impressionable. And, we don't know what her relationship is with her father. I mean, we've heard stories. Nobody knows whether those stories are true or not. But it could be that she may see a father figure in him. It can be that she sees a protector in him. They could have just met at St. Bart's and, there could have been a situation where she just simply found herself attracted to him. Who knows? But a lot of times when people act in a way that doesn't appear to be normal, there can be a psychological or an emotional reason as to why they're behaving in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's food for thought. But what do you think about dating older? Just like within normal parameters. I think that when you're young, like when you're like 20s, like early 20s?
For me now, no. For me now. And that's because, as I said before, I've had like life experience, but I haven't experienced enough to kind of allow me to relate to someone much older than me enough to have a whole relationship.
Right.
You know, I'm about to graduate college. Like the only experiences that I've had are like college and school experience. Like I haven't had an opportunity to live my life as just an adult and an individual, you know? But now let's say if I were a little bit older and I've had an opportunity to live and kind of grow into myself more, then I feel like an older man wouldn't be so jarring. But I just think it's when the relationship starts out younger.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the gap.
When I was 20 and I was in college, one of my best friends was in a relationship with a guy who was 30 and he was a professor. And I thought that it was absolutely, I remember saying like, yuck, that's so disgusting. He's 30. Like he's so old, you know? So I think that when you're in your 20s, the age gap is more significant because you've only done but so much living. But once you've hit your 30s, I think that the age gap becomes less important because experience as it relates to another person could have plateaued.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if you're 30 and you're dating someone who's 40, you're 35, you're dating someone who's 45, 10, 12 years. I know people that are older and in a 17-year gap. You may have superseded the point where someone is taking advantage of you because of their abundance of experience over you. Do you know what I mean? So that's my thought.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yes. Okay, guys. So it's about time for us to wrap it up. You are what? What is that? An email. Okay, do you want to do an email before we wrap up? Do you guys want to hear an email?
What's wrong with him?
I thought I was leading this podcast today. Everything is wrong with him. Okay, go ahead, Maddie.
Hey, Gia, this is Tammy from Atlanta. I'm a longtime listener and I love you and your family. I'm so glad that you guys are back because I enjoy watching and listening every week. Your husband is a little too vulgar for me at times, but I love him too. I noticed that you and your older daughter have a great relationship and you could tell she really respects you. My daughter is very disrespectful and challenges me on everything. If things don't go her way, she will curse at me, slam doors, and even threaten to tell on me.
To tell on me.
Yeah. How do I turn our relationship around? What are some tips you use with Madison in building such a healthy relationship?
Drop it. Let you try to answer that.
What are some tips? Well, we talked about this a lot. A big thing is you instilled in me since I was a child to always respect you and to be appreciative of everything that I have and the opportunities I have. But from this stage, moving on, I don't really know.
Have you ever had to consider consequence when you were coming up? Like, if I do this, then that will happen. Was consequence ever a reason why? Has that ever kept you from doing something that you shouldn't have been doing?
No, I just knew that it was wrong.
Okay. I think that, Tammy, as human beings, we respond to two things. One, positive reinforcement, and two, consequence. So I think to get someone to do something that you want them to do, that they should be doing, you encourage them with positive reinforcement. That's my first go-to. You praise them when they do it. You encourage them and you show them how it can be beneficial and why it's right, why it's good. So, and when they do it, you praise them and You talk about it. You make a big deal out of it. You congratulate them. You compliment them, things of that nature. Positive reinforcement. Or for a lot of people, you just give them attention. Because I think that might be
Oh my gosh.
the thing that most human beings want more than anything is attention. Someone to make them feel as though they're listening to them and someone to be proud of them. Just give them attention. Some people just need an ear because a lot of people are horrible listeners. And I've been seeing this a lot in social settings. I'll be in a group, it could be 4 or 5 people, and someone's talking. No one's paying attention. People pull their phone out, they're looking on their phone, and other people, you can tell that they're just not there. They're not asking questions. They're not being good listeners. They're not engaging. And you see that person that was speaking starting to shrink. A lot of times people just want attention. So that's a form of positive reinforcement. So you can give them that. If that doesn't work, I am big on consequences. I haven't had to doll them out often with my children. It very rarely ever comes to that. But if your child has the gumption to curse in front of you comfortably,
Let alone at you,
everything is getting taken away.
absolutely.
Everything. I would systematically remove every single thing that represents any piece of joy or happiness in that child's life until they understand that if you do wrong, you are going to pay. And it's going to hurt you a whole lot more than it's going to hurt me. I don't believe, it's going to hurt me more than it hurt. No.
Nope.
I'm going to see to it that it hurts you. And if I feel like you're not hurting enough, I'm going to hurt you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Until you understand you can't walk around this house slamming doors, cursing at me, the person whom provides you your entire life. Oh, you show me a lack of appreciation? You get nothing. If I could make them walk to school, I would.
Yep.
I would take away anything that they liked until they understood, wow, my poor behavior, my bad behavior is only hurting me because she doesn't care. And clearly, this crazy lady has no limits. You have to instill consequences because when Madison was a kid, you were about 10 years old. She had a friend that lived in our neighborhood. And she went to the friend's house. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think
She went to the friend's house and she calls me in a panic. Mom, I need you to come and get me. And I said, why? What's happening? She said, so-and-so just completely cursed her mother out. Do you remember? Hold on.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. But yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
She just completely cursed her mother out. And I said, well, what happened? What did she say? Oh, her mother told her to do something. She didn't want to do it. She said, F you. I can't effing stand you. I wish you would effing die. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Am I jogging your memory?
Yeah.
I mean, you were 10. I was grown. So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the, and I wish you effing die part. And then she slammed the door. I said, I'm on my way. So I came, I saw the mother. I said, hey, I heard it's a little crazy right now. So I just came to grab Madison. She said, okay, let me get her. She said, I apologize. I got Madison in the car. And I said, hey, Maddie, tell me if you remember this part. I said, hey, Maddie, do you like so-and-so, her friend? She said, yeah, she's okay sometimes. I said, do you want to continue to hang out with so-and-so? And she said, well, I don't know, maybe. I said, okay. If you do I have to be worried about your friendship with so-and-so? She said, what do you mean? I said, do I have to worry that you will be influenced by her bad behavior? And she said, no, I don't think so. I said, because if you did ever think that it was okay to come home and speak to me in that matter, what do you think would happen? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
You don't? I'm surprised. You said, yes, I know what would happen. I said, what would happen? She said, you will fight me. She didn't say you will hit me. I said, yes, I will fight you. I will wrestle you to the ground and I will knock you clear out.
Mhm.
Do you understand? And she said, oh, yes, mommy, I understand. And I said, I'm not going to remove her as a friend because at 10 years old, I want you to have the discretion of who you want to hang out with and for what reasons versus who you do not want to hang out with versus those reasons. I want you, and I also want you to be around things that are not for you and be able to trust and know that you are mature enough to handle those situations the way that I raised you.
Mhm.
So for me, it's kind of like an experiment. I want you to be friends with the good girls. I want you to know the bad girls because I want you to know what this whole world looks and feels like. And I never want you to suffer from shock by being put in a situation that you don't know how to handle. So what is that going to take? That's going to take experience. That's going to take me throwing you in with the sharks. So you can still call her your friend. You can still go over to her house. She can still come over here because I feel as though I've armed you with what you need to temper that friendship. And she said, okay. You didn't hang out with her that much after that. But that's kind of, like there was always this clear understanding that, and sometimes it's not the actual consequence, it's the threat of a consequence. Your child knowing what you're capable of.
And like, even when I got older, it wasn't necessarily the threat, like, oh, mom is going to take what I have away.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, mom is going to spite me in ways that I didn't even know she could spite me. Like, I'm going to miss out on so much that I could have been able to experience or whatever the case. I'm going to miss out on so much.
And I'm not even going to
and
tell
she's not
you.
even going to tell me.
Yeah.
That's always what it was. You're not even know what you're missing because I'm not even going to tell you.
Exactly.
Just know that you're missing it.
It's true. That is my style. I think you guys know me well enough to know that I do believe in spite to a certain degree and in certain circumstances. But yes, with my children, like I described before, I believe that they have to deserve everything that they get. And if you're behaving in a manner that I'm not proud of, then there are things that I likely would have done for you
But you're just not going to do
that I'm just not going to do. And I'm not going to tell you about it. And sometimes you may ask me for something and I'm just going to say no. And it may not because you did something yesterday. It could be because you did something or didn't do something a month or 5 weeks ago that I'm remembering and I'm saying to myself, you don't deserve it. So you're not going to get it.
And that no is so terrifying because you're the most yes person on this entire planet. Anything that I want to do, sure. Like, yes, yeah, sure. Mom, can I do this? Yeah, sure. Yes, to everything. So getting a no, it's like, oh, I did something and I didn't even realize, but this is because I did that.
This is Judgment Day.
Yep. This is Judgment Day. It's like, oh, here's that spite.
Yes.
Here's my punishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of my parenting style.
Mm.
And I have done that I've done that with my husband. So I guess it's not just, it's not just parenting style. That's who I am as a human.
I'm the same way now too.
You're the same way.
Yeah.
Because of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Is it reasonable to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
it
it's very
works.
reasonable.
It works.
I think that's life. You get what you deserve,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes in the opposite direction too. Love, if you deserve love and kindness and opportunity and all of that, you deserve it. You get that too.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, now I'm actually going to wrap. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. It's been more fun hanging out with you, but this is no different than like our day to day.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. I am Gia Casey.
And I'm Madison Casey.
And that was another edition of the Casey Crew. Toodles!